Good morning. I think we're live. I think we are live. Good morning, good morning. Let me find myself somewhere here. There we go. I think we're all live. I've got the computer open over here so I can see me. There we are. Yes, I'm live. Excellent. Okay. This is getting a little less hectic every time, although I will tell you, if you are joining me today, this is going to be a little frantic, I think, because I have the biggest mess here. I haven't created the card that I'm hoping to create today yet, so could be a little messy. But anyway, bear with me. And if you are watching on the replay, hello Brenda. If you are watching on the replay, remember that the fast forward button is your friend. All right, so today, while we wait for some people to come in, we'll just go through a little bit of housekeeping. I'm not creating for the Colour Inspiration Challenge today, but there is one on at the moment, and it is this one, Crushed Curry, Smoky Slate and Basic Black. Now I have created for that already, and I do have my card here, and I will show you on my craft desk in just a second. So let me change over to craft desk. That's it. So this is the card that I created for the Colour Inspiration Challenge. So Crushed Curry, Smoky Slate, Basic Black. I'm just seeing if I can zoom this in a little. Oh, there we go. Yes, so that is it. I think the lighting, there's a good chance for me to check my lighting. So that one's using the Coneflower Celebration stamp set and dies. So if you want to join, I don't think I put the link in the description below, but I'll go back in and add that later. So let me zoom back out again so I don't forget, and come back to, so that's that one. Crushed Curry, Smoky Slate, Basic Black, Colour Inspiration Challenge 195. Now today in Australia, it's not yet the 18th in the US, and I'm not sure about Europe, probably somewhere close. But on the 18th is a 24-hour stamp sale from Stampin' Up, so it's 15% off all stamps and stamp tools, excluding those that are in the last chance list. So, and it doesn't, even though you can purchase a stamp that is already bundled, just be aware that it is still probably a better deal to purchase the bundle rather than the stamp on sale and then purchase the dies at full price. So that's a little trick to remember when you're ordering. Always check the bundle pricing as well. Hello Monica, how are you? So yeah, so that's today only, or the 18th only, wherever that is in your part of the world, whenever that comes about. So something to look out for there. Another thing we have coming up, which will probably be live before I get live next week. I'm not actually sure on what day it is next week. Let me have a look. It is today is the 18th to 23rd. Oh, it's Tuesday. So the 23rd of September, there is going to be it's called an Advent calendar. It's a new thing that Stampin' Up are offering. It's only 12 days, so it's really a 12-day open the door and find a surprise thingy, rather than an Advent calendar. And you know, whether you purchase this and then open the doors one day at a time, or just rip them all open as soon as it comes through your front door, that's totally up to you. But it does include a stamp set, which is 2 sheets, one's sentiments, one's images. They're flowery ones. It also includes a little surprise behind each opening in the door. There's 12 of them, so you get the stamp set and 12 surprises. Some things are meant to work exactly with the stamp set, other things will coordinate, and some things will just will be things that can go with your product that comes in the box. So in Australia it's $173. It is available on the 23rd of September only while supplies last. So if you are someone who likes getting surprises, then you could buy one for yourself, but it's also a wonderful gifting opportunity if that's how you want to look at it. So there you go. Oh, and there goes my tummy right on cue. So yeah, so that's coming up on the 23rd. And where are we? So we've got Brenda and Monica still on. Great. So let me go back to me for a minute. Now today, as I said before, I haven't really got a lot prepped. I have made the card, or one of the cards. I'm hoping to make 2 today. So I'll jump over to my craft desk, but if you could see the rest of my desk, you would go, what on earth is she doing? So may get a little bit chooky, you know, chook with head cut offy. I'm excited for that. I love surprises, Monica, so I'm really excited for that. I'm assuming you're talking about the open all the doors and get a surprise. Aren't we funny how we love little surprises? So yeah, I'm excited for it too. But it will only be while supplies last, so you need to mark the 23rd in your calendar if that's something that you like, because from everybody that I've spoken to, there is a lot of buzz about it, so you probably want to get in quick. If I get in and get one in time, I'm planning on, because once it's sold out, and typically I don't use things once they're sold out in the public space. I use them myself in my craft room and in classes, but not so much in the public space. But what I'm thinking of doing is anyone who purchases that advent calendar off me, including my team members, I will run a separate little get-together every month on Zoom where we'll get in and create with that set for a whole year, for 12 months. So that would be exciting and will give me a good opportunity to really well use that product. All right, let us come to my desktop. Okay, there we go. Now this, on my screen here, I'm just waiting for it to come up in the other computer, but on my screen here, you'll definitely get that, Brenda. Yes, it's I think everyone that I've spoken to said I'm in. So yeah, I think it'll be very exciting. This is the card that I'm creating, and I'm using the Petal Arrangements stamp, which is in the mini catalogue right at the back, page 61. It's a cling rubber stamp, and it's quite an interesting little one. Now it is on sale today on the 18th, depending on, probably not where you are yet, Brenda, but on the 18th this one is on sale. I was quite excited because to me this screams Australiana, but in actual fact I'm pretty sure that these are Proteas, because I did go online to look up what colours you could get them in, and I'm pretty sure these are Proteas, which are actually South African, but they're closely related, same genus to Waratahs, Banksias, those Australian natives, so they often get plonked in with our Australian natives in our floral arrangements. So you know, they do scream Southern Hemisphere or South Pacific to me, so I'm running with that. And I'm pretty sure these are frangipanis, which were a favourite flower of mine when I lived up in the tropics. So that's what we're going with. This is an interesting set in that it comes like this, and so they're all in big chunks, and the idea being that you can put them on a large block and stamp them all in one, and they will come up. Now I don't have one because I don't have a card made in this way, but then you can just use that as a background, put a sentiment on it, and you're pretty much, once you've coloured it, got a ready-made card. So that's how we're going to stamp it today, but we're going to do something different with it. As you can see from my sample, I've cut it up. So once you cut it up, theoretically you'll have enough to make a couple of cards. So you can just put all these together on a large block. I'm going to use my Stamparatus, so use a stamp position if you have one, just for ease of getting a nice clear image. I've lost my Stamparatus, here it is. So let's get that on to our plate. So when you pull them out, they're going to go, I'm going to put them down this way so I can see what I'm doing, and then they fit together like a jigsaw, and I found it quite intriguing. I had to play around with this quite a bit. I kept getting them in the wrong place. They wouldn't match, and I couldn't work out why they wouldn't match, and it's because I kept pulling them out and then not remembering, so you can go like this, not remembering where they go. So when you pull them out and put them on your block or whatever you're going to stamp on, have them here and then just move them across and place them. So I'm going to place them on my plate as they come out of the just trying to remember how far over I need to put it, as they come out of the stamp set, and then of course they theoretically should just match up the same way that they were in the case. You can use these individually, and if we get time with me doing 2 cards, I will stamp the inside of the card individually. This is a bit like a jigsaw, a child's jigsaw, so surely I can get it right. I'll just slot in there, and I think I have got it right. Now I am going to also use a photopolymer sheet. Well, I think I'm going to use it though, but if I could find my photopolymer sheet, I would use it. How does that sound? Here it is. I'm just going to clean it off because I already had something on it. Yeah, I was a bit, I did all this late last night and was a bit hectic this morning, so there's a big mess here. And I'm just gonna, I haven't even made the second card. We'll design it as we go, and you might be able to give me some tips. So I don't have any, I don't have the foam plate in here because it's a rubber stamp. So I'm going to stamp an index image with black memento. I am using black memento ink today, even though I am watercolouring. As long as you are not flooding an image with a lot of liquid, the memento does seem to hold reasonably well. You will get some of the bleeding of the black ink. It's pretty unavoidable because this is not a waterproof ink. So if you really wanted it to be waterproof, you could use StazOn. But honestly, I just love the ease of the memento for cleaning it off. And as you can see from my card, which is watercoloured, there's not too much shading from the black coming into the images. Right, that's my index image. You don't really need one for this because it only really fits in one place, but I use it anyway just so that I can line my paper up. I've got a half sheet of basic white. You don't need a sheet this big. I'm just using it again for ease of having a lot of space to stamp on, but I think I worked out that it was around about 16 centimeters by 11.5 if you wanted to fit it on here exactly. So I'm probably being a bit wasteful here. So 11.5 by 16 will give you a piece that fits exactly on to your white piece of card. You just need to trim a little bit off the edges, but today I'm going to use a big piece. Hold that down there. We'll ink this up again. Now if you were putting this on a block, lay it on its back with the stamp up, ink it up, and then you would probably put your paper down on top and rub a block over it to transfer all of the ink. It's a good way to make sure you get a good image. But once it's done, it's done. You don't get a second chance. This way you get a second chance if it's not quite dark enough. Now I still can't find my doorknob. you know, the doorknob with the felt on it to roll over this. Could use a block. Oh, here's a block. Just making sure that I get all of that image, hopefully. Let's lift it up. And that's pretty good. So that's how it comes, so that you can colour it. It's how it looks in the catalogue when you see it done up there. And you can colour it, use it on your, you know, cut it down to card front size, put a sentiment on it, and you're pretty much good to go. So if you are a person who likes colouring, this is a lovely image. Right, I'm going to grab a scrap of paper, put it in here so I don't get black ink all over my Stamparatus plate, and pop this out of the road. Now, I'm using watercolour pencils to colour with. So I have all my watercolour pencils here, and I'm using, you notice, I'm just using regular basic white. It's not even thick, it's just regular basic white. And I'm going to use a blender pen, which I keep with my watercolour pencils, specifically to use with my watercolour pencils. Now the Stampin' Up! Watercolour pencils are really creamy. They are lovely to use, and you can actually colour without watercolouring or adding any liquid to it if you want to. So you do not have to do what I'm doing today and blend the colours together. Now, this is the one I've stamped. I did one about 5 minutes before I came live because I knew that colouring all this would be time consuming. So I have already done one, and I have coloured some of the images, and we're just going to colour these two. Now I don't have the new set of watercolour pencils, so some of these colours are retired. If you have the new set, you may be using different colours. Just use whatever you like, but I just went in and had a bit of a look at the colours of Proteas, and this is what I came up with. So I have already coloured these. We'll colour these ones. I am going to try and zoom you in a fraction, but I just have to open my other little thingy here. I'm getting the hang of this gradually. How does that look? That's better, isn't it? Alright, so now you just have to not focus on my hands too much. It's autofocus. Colours I used were, what colours are in here? There's a lot of, have I got many? Melon Mambo, I think it was. Got a lot of, so that's Flirty. That's Melon Mambo, it's getting a little bit blunt. I don't think I have another one. Oh yeah, they're both blunt, great. And I also added in some, for the centre part of the Protea, some Flirty Flamingo. And then from the other set, which is all my cooler colours, I used, and I also used yellow. So I'll grab my yellow for a minute. Yellows, oh, that will have definitely broken. Lucky I've got two. Just dropped it on the floor. Oops. And I will pick it up because otherwise my darling dog will steal it and chew it up. Oh. No, it didn't break. So I do have a couple of sets. As they come out, I buy them usually. So I've got a couple of sets in here. For the leaves, I used Garden Green. I used some Granny Apple Green. And I also used Bermuda Bay. Now, Bermuda Bay is a retired colour, but any sort of greeny blue will work. Coastal Cabana might be okay as well, but we'll use it just to give it different colours in the foliage. So let's do this. Now, I did this in about, it's not very good actually, I might have to touch it up. I did this in about 5 minutes flat. So if you're not too fussy, it's quite quick to colour. If you're a little bit, you know, if you want like me and like to take your time normally, you can see I started here and thought, don't do that one, Cheryl, you're going to do that one live. So to start with the Frangipani leaves, I'm doing some Granny Apple Green, and honestly, it's nothing, it's just adding a little bit of the colour in. Now, if you're not going to watercolour these, be a little bit more precise with your colouring. But if you are going to watercolour, you don't even have to be precise. And then I always like to add a second colour, which I'm adding the Granny Apple Green here. And this is just to give it some shading. It's amazing how much just adding that little bit of extra colour makes a difference. So with my blending pen, I keep one in for cool colours, one in for warm colours. This is my cool end, and I'm just going to, it's just a couple of strokes just to fill in and blend out those colours. You can't go over it too much anyway because the paper will peel, but it's amazing how well these beautiful creamy watercolours blend on regular basic white cardstock, just with a few strokes of the blender pen. Now I didn't do these ones, so I'm going to quickly do these ones. I just realised I coloured everything else, but I didn't blend these ones, so I'll just quickly do that. You can see how easy that is. It's really nothing fancy. Oops. So we go, so the lines, that's right. Okay. So then we will do the actual frangipanis, which I'm going to do in yellow. And all I did was just a couple of strokes because frangipanis are, oh, that's the one I dropped. Oops. Now keep all these. I keep all these. I'll show you in a minute what I do with them. So I'm just adding a couple of lines in. Frangipanis are generally white with a yellow, the common frangipani, white with a yellow, a blush of yellow in the centre. But you can get pink and that, and to tie this in a little bit with the card, the first card I created had peach pie in it, so to tie that in a little bit I used some of the Flirty Flamingo, and I just added the tiniest little blush in the middle. It's not much at all. It's just going to blend. When I add the blender pen over the top, it will just blend them out. So you can see that this is the one I've blended already very quickly, and this is the one I haven't. So if you like that look, that's all you have to do. But I'm going to give mine a little bit of a blend using my not green end. So just push the colour out with the brush, with the pen, not the brush. And that just gives it just a very slight little blend, mooshing the colours together. With the Protea, I did my leaves in the garden green. You can see it's really quite, because I'm going to blend it all together, you can be really not precise. And then to give it a little bit of depth, I'm going to add some of the Bermuda Bay, or the, I don't know if there's shaded spruce in the new set, but Coastal Cabana is one of the older ones and it's a bluey green, so that will work. So you can see that, you know, if you were a little bit more precise with your colouring, you could just leave it like that. I'm going to take my green end, my cool colours end, and just basically take that colour to the outside, and that will blend the bluey colour in with the green and give you a very shaded spruce colour. And that's that done. And now we come to the fun bit, the actual Protea. So I'm going to use Melon Mambo, and I am going to add, I'm going to make it heavier at the base of the petals and then just a little lighter towards the top of the petal, because those petals sit down inside one another, so you want to create that shadow. down at the base of each petal. Now do these little petals around the top. So I've got quite a bit of white in there. You can see it looks quite different to this one. And that is, we'll do the inside bit first, which I did use Flirty Flamingo for. I can find that. Well, they all look the same. So I did the centre a lighter pink colour, which is the Flirty Flamingo. But I added, I didn't get it out, some Gorgeous Grape for depth. Look how small that one is. I added some Gorgeous Grape. Now I added Gorgeous Grape at the very tip of that centre, just a few little strokes. And then I also added, oops, okay, I've got another one, that one's broken too. I must think I'm a bit rough with my pencils sometimes. But I don't throw all these bits away, they get used. So you just want a couple of strokes into the base of each of those petals. It's not much, but you'll be surprised once you blend it how much of a difference it does make. So already we're starting to show some depth in there. So let's grab our blender pen, and we'll just do this bit first. I'm just going to pull that purpley colour down into the pink a little bit, and then with our petals we'll start at the base and push the colour up. Just clean it off every now and then because it will pick the purple up. You don't want to totally obliterate the pink. And there we go. That's all you need to do when it's coloured. So in reality it hasn't taken me a lot of time to colour this because these pencils are so versatile. Now, is my little thing in here? Yes. So I keep this little old embellishment box, and I keep all of my bits that fall out of the tip. And then you can probably see, oh, I can't on here. I put them in here when I want to use them. So for instance, the green, and then I'll grab, have I got a water brush here? Yes, I do. Is it dirty or clean? It's dirty. What about this one? This one has a little bit of water in it. Then I just put them in here and pick the colour up with my water brush, and then I'm able to watercolour with the pencil colours, the creaminess of the pencil. Now this is on basic white, so it does react with the water not as well as fluid 100 watercolour paper, which is what I would normally use to watercolour. But you can see, so I don't waste any of those broken bits because you do tend to get quite a few little broken bits. So I keep them all and then use them in that way, rather for things where I don't want to colour or where I've coloured with the pencils and then want to blend with some extra colour. That works really well. Just picking up some of my rubbish off the floor. So yes, I keep all the little broken bits, don't throw them away, because they do come in, they can be used. So I have a special sharpener, so I'll just dump all these over here for now. I'll sharpen them later. Right, those out of the road. So now we are ready to cut this up. So I think it's dry enough to cut up. I'll bring in my trimmer. So for this card, these two pieces, this needs some extra glue. I'll have to put something under there. Be a couple of dimensionals. this one is 5 centimetres, the cut part, by 5 centimetres square, which is about 2 inches in Imperial. Actually, can't. I need to unzoom you now, don't I? Hold on, let me unzoom you. There we go. There we go. So, yeah, 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres, or around about 2 inches. And then the matting layer is just, I just make it 0.3 larger, but you could make it 0.5 if you want a larger border. Up to you, but anyway, a slightly larger piece for the matting layer. That's what I used here. Now I want to create, you could do 2 cards, it's the same, by cutting it out that way, but I want to create another one using 3 smaller squares, which I'm going to make 4 centimetres square, and that is about 1.5 inches. So now we need to cut those pieces, and I know it's pretty horrific to be cutting into this lovely image, but that's what we're going to do. So we'll work out whereabouts. Can't remember quite where I did this one, but I think it was this way. So the first cut I made was where I'm going to make my 2 5 centimetre pieces here. So we'll just cut somewhere around here. They're going to be random, so it really doesn't matter too much. Now we need to cut them down to the 5 centimetre mark. So we'll do this one at 5. Now, I think we might do 5 centimetres this way first. And then 5 centimetres. That gives us one little frangipani piece, and then we'll try and get a nice looking bit of protea out of this one. So I'll just cut this off. 5, where does 5 land me there? I think that'll be okay. And then 5 this way. Let's see if we can get it all in. Yes, we have a little bit of leafage at the top. Won't matter. That's 5 and 5. So that's our 2 5 centimetre pieces. Now, these are the ones I haven't cut yet. So I'm going to try and get 3 pieces out of this one that are 4 by 4. I want one to be the flowers, and one to be a protea, and one to be a mixture of both. So, how will we do that? I think I'll cut down here first. Like that. And we'll cut this one off here. It's a little bit smaller than the other one. And then we'll cut this one down to 4 this way. 4, that's what I said, isn't it? Yep. 4. And then let's see where we land here. 4. It's got a couple of little weird edges on there, but that we might be able to disguise those in some way. And then we've got to be 4 out of this. Now this is going to be a bit trickier. 4. Let me cut a bit more off this edge. 4, we might cut this off down here. And then 4 this way. How'd we go? That's not too bad. Right, so that's 2. Now we need to just try and get 2 bits in our 4. Okay, cut that bit off there so we get a little bit of frangipani there. Cut this one off here. Right, now let's hope that when we do our 4 this way, we still get a fair chunk of that protea in. Yep. And then 4 this way. Might have to bring it up this way. And then get 4 take a little bit extra off here. All right, so we've ended up with 3 pieces that are 4 by 4 and 2 pieces that are 5 by 5. So we've got other bits and pieces left over here, but they're really not much use to anything because we've cut so much off them. So we'll just ditch all those. Okay, so this one's quite easy from here. So we might work on both cards as we go. Now I'm going to have to do some cutting because I said I really haven't prepared anything. Alright, so this one has peach pie in the background. So I do have some peach pie cardstock here somewhere. There we go. So we'll need 2 pieces of peach pie. So I've got some scraps here. And they're going to have to be slightly larger, so I'm going to make mine 5.3, which will give me a 1.5 centimetre border all the way around. So 5.3 by 5.3. So if you're working in inches, just a little bit larger than 2 inches. So maybe, what would that be, 2 1/4? That might give you a wider border. Now, I shouldn't be quoting numbers while I'm trying to measure, should I? Goodness only knows what I'll end up with. 3 by 5.3. I have the retention of a gnat, honestly. Right, so that's my 2 pieces here. So they'll get glued onto there. So while we're cutting, we'll do these ones. What colour will I put on here? I've got heap of colours out here that I pulled out to use. I think we will use be a bit dramatic with this one. This all's light and fluffy. We'll be a bit dramatic with this one and maybe work with some pretty peacock. Bit of a contrast. So what did I say these were? 4. So if we do 4.3, I think that's right. We'll do 1 to check it. 4.3 by 4.3. Yep, gives me a nice fine border. Oh, it's going to be very dramatic. So we can get 2 out of this one. 4.3. This one is a bit fluffy on the other edge. 4.3. By 4.3 by 4.3. Right. So I'll just move this out of the road and we will glue those together. Put that on the wrong side. Bad, Cheryl. Lucky I've got a fine border. Bad, Cheryl. Don't put it on the coloured cardstock. Put it on the back of the piece that you're sticking. Oh. This way. And then these ones, same thing. Must have got glue on my grid paper. You like with a pretty peacock? Yes, it does make it a bit striking, doesn't it? picks up the green, that extra bluey green I put in the leaves of the proteas. Well, that was my thinking anyway. Right. Next up, we need to prepare a base for these to go on. So with this one, it is strawberry slush, except I don't know if I've got any strawberry slush cardstock out here. I can't see any. That's a bit of a shame. I'm not running away to get any, so we'll just have to work with whatever I've got here. So this one's going to be slightly different. I've got, I do have some, let me move these out of the road. I do have some, what's this one called? Summer Splash. 14.8. Looks about right. 10.5. And what other colours do I have out here? I've got, oh look, I do have strawberry slush, bonus. Right, cut a piece of strawberry slush. And I'll grab a bond folder, which was here on the desk, and who knows where it is now. Oh, do I have another one? Yes. I've got a very old one here. Look at this weird shaped bone folder. Fold this over. That's going to be for this one, and we'll make the other one exactly the same as I did before because I know those colours work okay. Well, for me. Anyway, 14.8 by 10.5. Right, now I could just put them on a plain card, but you know, that's so not me. So I'm going to pull one of these off. Clean it first, I guess. Which one will we use? This one. And put it on a block. On that block. Now because these are cut, sorry, I have a bad habit. I'm just going to move my keyboard up out of the road. I throw things down on the desk, they go on my keyboard and things happen. So I'll just put that out of the road. You can see that they have these extra bits, which normally would be nicely trimmed off to fit, but because this is made to go together, so you have to be really careful not to get ink on that piece there because it can easily make a mark. So I'm going to put, now I don't even know if you can see it on this one, but I have got a stamped in the background on that one. So I've got Strawberry Slush ink out here. I know, shock, shock, shock. Put this out of the road. And we're going to stamp that off so that it's nice and light. So you want to be careful to tap very lightly so you don't get the ink on there. We'll stamp it off and then just, now I don't know where, this one you sort of have to be a bit careful where you put things because quite a bit of this is showing. So we'll rotate it around and just stamp all over the back of the card. Just check that I haven't been too heavy-handed. We'll fill this gap in here. Fill this gap in there. And you can see I've got a little bit there. I'm just going to take that off. Fill this gap in and then just fill in any sort of edges where you might have a bit of a gap. I think that is actually pretty good. Okay, that's that one. Set this aside for a minute. And I want to do the same thing on this one, but not, I'm going to use a different stamp. So I'm using Textured Notes. So that's this one, which is one of my go-tos when I want something in the background. So we'll use this one. I just need to find a block. Fit on there? Yes. And I've got Summer Splash ink. Yay. Oh, I have the block on top of it. Nut. Okay. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to stamp off because that's quite heavy. But this time I'm going to put a layer on here, so we really only need it around the edges. Just rotate your stamp so that it doesn't all look the same. And we'll do maybe a little bit here. Do you know, I never stamp this quickly. I am a very methodical, slow stamper, everything. So when I'm live, I do create a little more quickly than I normally would. It's very frightening. Okay. Put that aside. I will clean that off later, promise. So now we've got this bit, and I'm thinking I've pulled out the Textured Notes dies as well. I need to get these in the right order. Something like that. I don't like them going the same way. That'll have to go that way. So I'm thinking that I'm going to put something in the back here, and I'm going to use Pool Party. I've got Pool Party cardstock here. I've got some scraps. Or put that up out of the road. Well, I thought I had some scraps, but maybe I don't. So we'll just grab a piece of cardstock. I'm going to cut that down, but I need to know what size, so I'll grab my Textured Notes dies. One or two. Oops. These are the notes, Textured Notes dies. And which one will we use? That one or this one? I think we'll use the big one. Yep, okay, we'll use the bigger one. Right, so I want it to go, I want it to be longer because these are, I don't want it to sit out. I could do it like that maybe and sit them out over the edge, but I think I'm going to try and extend this die by a certain amount. So let me cut this to a suitable size. Oh, that mark is, it's in the paper. So to help me, I know that that is 14.8. So cut that down. I know I can't be longer than that. Get out of the road. Now I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine off to the side here. And I've got a little bit of repositionable tape. So the first cut I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make it the same width as the card. Let's see how we go with that, shall we? Might work, it might not, because it depends on how it falls into the pattern. I should have made it a little bit bigger. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm going to line that up with the edge of the cardstock. Just tape that down, and I'm just going to emboss, cut it to about here, not all the way, so I can extend it. So I don't have a little machine, I only have the big one, so you'll just have to imagine what I'm doing over here. Show you where I've got to. I've cut right to the edge and I've only come down to part of the way down. So now I'm going to take this off. I'm going to move it along. Now normally with these you can sort of do this and fit it in. Oh, it does work, but whether it works and I get the right length or not is another matter. I have to make it a little bit shorter. So you need to wriggle it until you feel it slot to place, and it doesn't seem to want to. Oh, it's one side, but that's too short. So I'm just going to pop it along a little bit further. It doesn't want to pop into place, so we're just going to go with it. I'm going to bring it right to the very edge. Line it up. Just doesn't want to pop into place. Normally you can feel it jump into the grooves, but it's obviously not quite right. So now I'm going to run it through this way and only to about here so that I encompass those cuts. Fingers crossed. It's always an unknown, especially when it didn't jump into the grooves. So we won't go too far. So I'm not double cutting that pattern. Oops, guys. Oh, did you hear that big crash? Oops, I haven't quite cut it all the way. We'll just lay that down again and redo it. Should have got it that time. Yes. Alright, so it's pretty good. There's a little hook there, but hopefully it won't show too much. I think that's pretty good actually. I'll trim that bit off. It's only out by a sliver. Scissors. Let's trim this little bit off here. The pattern has doubled up just a fraction, but it's matched up really quite well. As you can just see a little bit here where it's a bit wonky, but who would be able to tell? Right, so that's extending the die. Let's see how well I got it to go on here. Well, it doesn't quite fit. It's a little bit short, but that's, you know, I think that looks okay. These will fit in here nicely now. Except I've got them up the wrong way. So they're going to go on here like this. Okay, and with this one, which I've totally lost now, here's this bit. This one needs a piece of Timid Tiger I put down here. So let me grab a strip of Timid Tiger. Let's put that up out of the road. That is 1.5 centimetres by 14.8, which is the length of the card, and 1.5, which is just over 1/2 inch, but you could maybe make it, what's that, 5/8, and then it'll hold the ribbon nicely, because we're going to put some ribbon over the top. Now I don't even know if that's going to stay there, but I'm going to make it stay there. That little bit of tape. So that's my 1.5 centimetre strip. Now I've got 2. Maybe use one of those on the inside. And then I'm going to wrap some Timid Tiger ribbon. Now that could be a bit tricky to find here on my desk. Here it is. No, it wasn't tricky at all. So grab a little piece of Timid Tiger ribbon, cut it to the right size, and wrap it around. Now I am going to tape this on with some tape. So I've got tear and tape here, and I'm going to put a strip down the middle. Oh, it's not quite in the middle. Whoops. sure we can hide it. Strip down the middle. And that just, then put your ribbon sort of in the middle but covering the tape. And then just bend it around to the back. So we'll just need a couple of little bits of tape at the back. Now with the other card, I don't have any leftover of the Summer Splash ribbon, and the only Pretty Peacock ribbon I have is the one with the gold in it, and I don't know that that would look any good with gold in it. So I pulled out a new product that's just come into my craft room out of the mini catalogue. There we go. So now we can put tape down there and plonk that on the front of our card. In the real world, Cheryll would have 2 strips of tape. I did a little class the other day, just a little class with a demonstrator and another demonstrator, and she whizzed through her cards, and I'm like, quite simple cards, but I'm like so far behind. This is too long. This is too long. Let me see if I can fix that. Just pull the tape back. Cut a strip off. Now if it's still too long, it's just the way it's going to have to be. That's better. Alright, so we'll just lay that down there, hopefully get it straight. Now we need to put our sentiment on, and I'm going to do that with the Stamparatus. But for this one with the ribbon, I pulled out this, it's called Irregular Weave Trim. And I thought that might be nice to go on top of here. It's a bit sort of natural looking to go with the textured notes. So we'll try that. I will show you. Did I pull out? Yes. So we've got this one, which is Pretty Peacock, but it's got gold in it, and I don't know, you can let me know what you think while I'm doing the other card. Maybe it would look alright. With the gold in it, I thought, because there's no other gold in this card, or shimmer. Anyway, let me know what you think. See, it's quite goldy, whereas this one's a bit more natural. Even though this really... I'm going to put my sentiment over the top here. I'm going to white emboss my sentiment onto Pretty Peacock. So again, that might be a nice contrast with the natural one, whereas if I put a Pretty Peacock sentiment over this one, it might not stand out quite as much. Anyway, we'll think about that. Hello, Barb. You missed the beginning, yes, but that's okay. Yes, just go back and watch when you get a chance. And yeah, all well here, Barb. All right, so now I'm going to stamp this with my Stamparatus while we are considering our ribbon options for the other one. So bring that Stamparatus back in. Now the only reason I'm using the Stamparatus is because I want it to be nice and dark over the top of where I've stamped already. And I'm just... was a bit worried about it. Now we can't use this one obviously, so I'll take that off, and I do have my thank you on the block already from earlier. So I've got the thank you from the Textured Notes stamp set. Sure that's where it came from. Yep, this one. And on the other one I'm using You Are Seriously the Best, which is one of my favourite sentiments. Right, so let's grab a photopolymer sheet. This is rubber, so again we do not need the I've got so much stuff here. I wonder where that photopolymer sheet is. Not photopolymer, propylene. polypropylene sheet. I have no idea what I did with that. So we will just use the other one that I had. I'll just need to clean off. I had one set up to go with this, but obviously now I don't. Take this one, clean this off. Again, being memento is great. It just wipes off. Do another one. This up into the corner. Ink up my stamp. Swing it over. Now I've got my index image. So now, remembering where these are going to go, somehow like this. Working out where I'm going to put my sentiment. Somewhere around about there. This particular stamp is a bit tricky to work out how it's straight. Now you see this is not straight in here because I haven't lined the stamp up straight on the plate. So it's very tempting to straighten the card up, but just run with the crooked because that's how it's going to look on the card. If you straighten it, it won't. Right, ink, 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 just with black. We'll swing it down. See, that's pretty good, but I'd like it to be darker because it's got that pattern in the background. So we'll ink it up again and stamp it again. There, it's lovely and dark now. Okay, let's pop these out of the road and I will move this polypropylene sheet so I don't get ink everywhere. So now this one is just about finished because we are going to pop these down. This one is going to go on with dimensionals. She says. I'm probably going to have to start a new sheet because I have no idea where the old one is. And also we'll need some glue dots, which again, I have no idea where they are on this table. Maybe if you put things back, Cheryl, you might be able to find them instead of just throwing them all down everywhere in a big mess. Is everyone else like, oh here they are right in front of me. Is everyone else like messiest crafter in the world? Now, just going to hide that little bit there. I'm going to put this down like this. Now before we do this, I don't know if you noticed, but I got this card together and I thought it just needs something else. And I could have put sparkly things on, but I didn't really want to. I want these to be the feature. So I got my, well I did get my, oh where is it? Here. This is an old journaling pen. Now Stampin' Up! Do have journaling pens. I don't think they're quite the same as this now, but I am going to add some texture in the background and I don't want to splatter the whole image, so I'm just going to add just a few little black dots around the place. I went a bit overboard on my other one, so I'll try and be less. Nope, I'm already overboard, I can see. Just a few. And so, I might not be able to see that, but then that just gives it a little bit of extra oomph in the back. Monica, I think the natural one picks up the yellow in the flowers. Yes. And Brenda says the natural one? Good, because that's what I'm thinking. It's not often that I make a card with no shimmer, but it's just a little bit of noise in the background. Okay. So now they're going to go onto here with some dimensionals. All right, they go on with dimensionals. We know what this card looks like, so I'll finish the other one off because I know we're getting a bit over time. So this one on the inside, I also took that stamp that I had taken off and put on a block. I stamped it on the inside and I did exactly the same process. Except there's no orange in those frangipanis, they're just pure yellow. So this one you can see I've watercoloured a lot more than I did this one. But anyway, that's what it'll end up like. It just gets mounted up with dimensionals. I did put glue dots under here, but I think I need to put just a couple of mini dimensionals under there just to hold that down. Anyway, that's that one. Let's bring this one in because I really want to finish this one off. So we do need to do a sentiment. I'm going to glue that flat. I'm going to glue that on there. I'm going to add some ribbon. So let us cut our ribbon. And I'm not going to wrap it around. I'm just going to sit it on top because it doesn't appear to want to fray. So I'm just going to sit it on top and it will stay glued where the very long sentiment is. I need some pretty peacock cardstock. Get all my embossing stuff, which is just here. So I need to get a bit organised in my office space, which is in the living room, so you know, at the moment it's not ideal, but starting to get some places to put things. Now, I already have You Are Seriously the Best out on a block. It is not clean because I used it with black. Right, relatively clean enough. Get rid of any golden retriever hairs that might be floating around there. Right, now did I swipe this? Yes, I did. So ink this up. One. I'm going to do another one down over here, just in case. That's pretty good. Let's heat that with the heat tool. And the reason I chose this one is because the die in that textured notes dies cuts this out perfectly. So we'll choose the best one, which I don't really know which one's the best one. Which is seriously the best? This one probably. I think they're both much for muchness. We'll die cut them. Now it only just fits in. You've got to line up all your going up bits and going down bits. What are they called? Something's ascenders and descenders. Just put that on there like that. I'll run that through my machine. So the other seriously the best goes in my UFO box, which is, and then theoretically one day when I need a sentiment in that colour, it's just sitting there waiting. Theoretically, that's how it works. Doesn't always work that way. And then this is going to go onto here, which does hide most of the ribbon. I might have to slip it down a little bit, just so I can get some glue behind there to hold that on. So let's glue all this in place. Glue this on first with a little bit of liquid glue. Center it. Now in hindsight I probably should have made this a little bit shorter, because now that it doesn't fit exactly and it's just a little bit out, it's a little bit narrow. but cool. Now our flowers will go up on dimensionals, I think. This is going to go up on dimensional as well. So we'll just put some, how many of you do this? Have so many open dimensional things, but you can't find the other one that you just opened this morning. The good thing is they all get used. 3 and 5. They definitely all get used at my place. Now we'll start off with the centre one. This down where we think we're going to go. We want to try and get this in the centre. I don't know where the centre is. Oh, Cheryl's going to do a Cheryll now. Could just wing that, but I'm not going to. This is back to front here. This goes to 15, so we need to make it about, I'm measuring it on my grid paper here, 7.5. So centre's around about there. Right. That makes me feel better. Does that make you feel better? Probably still not straight, but ha. Ooh, tummy. Bridget, hello. Right, so now we want to still show the pattern, but we want a little bit of a border here. Let's try and get it straight, shall we? And then this one. Okay, and then this piece, we'll put it up this way because it sits better that way. Only needs to have glue behind where this is going to sit. Now I think we might sit it like that so that the ribbon shows above. If I sit it over that, it hides too much of the ribbon. Yep, we'll pull it down. So we just want a little bit of glue along the base of here. So I will use some tear and tape. I had that before, didn't I? Yes. Your favourite colours. You would do the same? You would measure? Yeah. Yeah, it's what makes me so slow, I think, when I craft, is I like things to be, like, these aren't quite right, but, you know. I've come to accept a little bit that my lives are probably never going to be perfect because I do have to rush, not well. You know, nothing's ever, all my things are crooked and my eyes have got bad over the years and everything's crooked now. I don't even know where my picture all over here. But I have come to accept that things aren't always perfect, especially when you're live. Right, so let's plonk that in place, sort of straight. And then this will go on here and hold that down with some mini glue dots. Do I have any of those? I don't. Oh, look, an edge. Oops, straighten that up. That was very opportune, wasn't it? I'll get over where the tape was. And I think I'm not even going to put any blingy bits or anything on it, I think I'm just going to walk away and leave that now. Very unlike me. So tempted to add yet something else, but that is that one. Now I will finish this other one off, but this was the other one. So that's all out of that one piece of this one. It's all out of that one. Don't mind my yucky back. I hate yucky backs. It's a presentation thing. I like to have nice, pretty. There we go. There's a bug. There we go. Now I'm happy. So that's out of that one big sheet from that stamp set. I will show you another one that I did. It's for a blog hop this weekend. This was another one that I did using that set. Now these are on watercolour paper, still using the watercolour pencils, but with a fluid 100 watercolour paper and blended with the water painter. And then you have to fussy cut them because there are no dies for this. So it's a perfect set to buy during the stamp sale today. There are no dies for it, so I have fussy cut those, which I didn't mind doing at all, even though it's quite tight in here. So that's just a different look. Same supplies, like still with the watercolour pencils, just a different, more feathery, more true protea look. You know how they've got that sort of fluffy, feathery look to them. So yeah, that's anyway, that's my projects for today, with a nod to the stamp sale. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for coming along. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Bridget. Bridget, we're doing this one in class. Probably doing these in class too, so you'll get a chance to use it. I'm just going back looking at some of the comments. Looks straight to you, Bridget. Great. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. So thank you, and I will hopefully see some of you next week. I hope you have a fabulous week, and if I've got classes on Saturday and classes on Tuesday, so if you are local to me, please give me a yell and see if we've got space. At the moment there is space. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you here again next week. Now I have a really bad habit of not saying goodbye properly. So there I am. Thank you, ladies. We'll see you next week. Have a great one. Hope you get some creativity in on the weekend. And don't forget to enter the Colour Inspiration Challenge.